Update. I-37 male told cheating ex-wife 37 female no when she asked for a better co-parenting relationship for our daughter 15 female. We have not spoken to each other in 6 years. Original post. My ex-wife cheated on me 6 years ago. That's when I discovered her in a 4-month affair with a married man. We share a 15-year-old daughter together and co-parent exclusively through my sisters or email. I found out because affair partner's wife sent me all of the pictures and videos that they took cheating on us with on his phone. Some of the deal breakers for me was she did acts with affair partner that she flat out refused to do with me, citing that those were disgusting and against her integrity as a woman. She literally told me her body, her rules. Before presenting her with the evidence I had given her a chance to come clean. However, she gaslighted me, even swore in our daughter's life. I told her if you had any integrity or respect for me at all, you would tell me the truth right now. She held firm that I was crazy and making wild accusations with no facts. So I then present the facts. When confronted her with the evidence, she broke down and looked me in my face and said she is a piece of trash. I knew her betrayal was beyond disrespectful and ultimately something I would never forgive. I told her going forward under no circumstances, except health, safety, and the life or death of our daughter, should she contact me. We divorced soon after. Fast forward 6 years later. Last month, my daughter asked would I attend a dinner that she was cooking to prepare for her baking and cooking competition. I of course agreed, but the kicker was her mother and my ex-wife would be there too. She knows why we divorced and accepts my no contact with her mother. Mind you, I haven't seen or spoken to my ex-wife in close to 6 years. At the dinner, some of my former in-laws and ex-wife were there, as well as my sisters and myself. My daughter's food was delicious and everything went smooth. 1 week after the dinner, I received a phone call from my ex-wife that I obviously answered because I thought something was wrong with our daughter. Nothing was wrong with our daughter, but ex-wife wanted to sincerely apologize for actions in the past and the damage she did to break up our family. She said that our daughter almost had a breakdown with the fear of her asking me to be in the same place as ex-wife and that our current dynamic is not healthy. She wanted to know was there any way to healthy coexist for future events with our daughter. I did not interrupt her and let her finish what she had to say. When she finished talking, I just responded by saying no and discontinued the call. Here is where I need advice. My sister told me my ex-wife is truly ashamed and sorry for breaking up the family and just wants a healthy environment for our daughter. Sister tells me to move on and to think about our daughter's mental health. I ask my sister what value am I to my daughter's life if I am unhappy. An ex-wife does not make me happy. So Reddit, I need unbiased opinions. Should I forgive my ex-wife and move on to build a better co-parenting relationship with my wife for my daughter's sake? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Who cares what your ex-wife thinks? Call your daughter up and have a conversation. Ask her how she's doing and what she'd like. Listen and ask questions. Take time to think about what you'd be able to participate in comfortably. Call your daughter up again and communicate that. Agree, you can tell your daughter understand her fear and also share what you need for your mental health. Explain your boundaries and your needs to the extent appropriate and provide some reassurance that you won't ever get angry at her or take it out on her. Me and my daughter have a fantastic relationship. We have date nights twice a month where we go to fancy restaurants and she has to order something she has not tried before. We text memes to each other daily, and we overall just vibe very well. I also set and teach my daughter about boundaries, integrity, values, and self-worth. So she struggles with the internal conflict of her wanting to meet my expectations, as well as the reality of the situation with her mother. It is night and day. What can her mom teach her about integrity? What can her mom teach her about loyalty? What can her mom teach her about being honest? What can her mom teach her about morality? Nothing. Me and my current girlfriend have been together for 3 years, and she and my daughter get along great. However, my ex-wife has struggled to find love, more than random hookups according to our own daughter. So it is truly causing morals and values clash when she compares me to her mom. Quite frankly, her mom is not a good person. Let's tear that band-aid off. If your relationship is so great, why was your daughter afraid to ask you something very important to her? Why was she so afraid of your potential or real reaction? Do you flat out reject your co-parent statement that your current co-parenting dynamic is unhealthy to your daughter? Are you willing to make any changes to it? If mom is a manipulative liar, it is entirely possible that she is trying to reconnect with OP under the guise of better co-parenting and using daughter's feelings as an in. We are talking about a woman who, until video evidence was shown, was willing to swear on her daughter's life that she had done nothing wrong. OP has been in a relationship for 3 years, while mom is still single and struggling to meet someone, so I think this is entirely possible. OP really should sit down with his daughter to get a better understanding of how she feels about the current dynamic, and if she's truly bothered, consider changing the dynamic. Until he talks to his daughter, I think it's just as likely that mom is trying to use daughter to manipulate OP. Now for the first update. I spoke to my 15 female daughter yesterday, and what she had to say was an eye-opener. She told me that she knows that I love her and would do anything for her, so she doesn't want to abuse my love for her from me by making me do things I normally would not otherwise do. She says her mom is struggling with sadness sometimes and tells her all the time that her father is not ever going to move past hating me, which makes it hard for everyone else to stop judging her for her past as well. Apparently, my ex-wife is venting her grievances on our daughter because she has so few friends. For context, ex-wife lost majority all of our childhood friends, as we all grew up together. None of the husbands want their wives hanging out with her, due to the fact she used girls' night as an excuse to be with a fair partner, and some of the wives knowingly and some unknowingly covered for her. This caused a lot of drama. It is a common belief that some of the other wives were cheating as well, but no other proof can be found. Since my divorce with the ex, the other wives have essentially removed her from the group to save their marriages. Daughter also explained to me that she missed our family being together if she was being honest, but understands that me and her mother love her. She then asked me about forgiveness and then about unforgiveness, things people cannot be forgiven for. I told her that is ultimately a standard you have to set for yourself. It comes from the morality and values you have within yourself. I explained that sometimes you can dislike the actions, but not dislike the person. And sometimes you cannot unassociate the actions from the person. Examples: Hitler, Osama bin Laden, or Jeffrey Baratheon from Game of Thrones. She hates him with a passion. I said her mother is someone whose actions I cannot unassociate with her. I said it doesn't mean she's a bad mom, it just means she's someone who I cannot dissociate with her actions. As a result, me and her relationship can never be the same. I then told her just because someone says sorry, it doesn't mean that everything is okay. Unfortunately, some actions have consequences, and in her mother's case, her actions are a part of who she is as a person. Daughter then asked me if I have ever forgiven someone who has hurt me before, and I said yes. I have forgiven a lot of people. Forgiveness is a very important quality to have as a person. Ultimately, we had a very good conversation last night and said me and her mom will always be there for her when she has big life events. I will be talking to my ex-wife soon about her comments to our daughter. Your daughter seems like a very mature and thoughtful person, and it sounds like you have great communication with her. Best of luck with everything moving forward. His daughter probably told him what he wanted to hear. As someone from parents with the almost exact story, it's extremely stressful to have two parents who cannot have a conversation. I'm in my 20s now, but growing up was very painful and damaging. I wish my parents would have grown up and put their love for me first, but their hate came first. I'm in almost the exact same situation as your daughter, and your relationship with your daughter sounds like mine with my dad. We've had the same conversation too about forgiveness and everything. You remind me of my own dad who's a great man, and it sounds like your daughter is understanding and thoughtful. Continue to build a strong relationship and communication with your daughter. And if you do decide to be in contact with your ex-wife again for the sake of your daughter, you should be super clear on boundaries. I think if it wasn't for me and my sister, my own dad would have gone no contact too. But for the sake of us and their shared assets, he and mom stay in contact. It's been difficult as my mom oversteps boundaries now and then, but I think it's possible and beneficial, especially for your daughter who's a bit young, to see her parents still manage an okay and respectful relationship despite not being together. However, this also depends on your ex-wife doing her part and respecting boundaries. I wish you the best and hope you can find something that works. Your daughter is lucky to have a dad like you. Thank you for this. We live in a very much who-you-know kind of city. So I think my wife has tried to change the narrative about herself, but it just hasn't worked. As a result, she's crossing the line by bringing our daughter into her mess. I will not be a part of her comeback story, and I will make sure my daughter will not be a part of it as well. She has to do this on her own and be a mother first. She has to separate her issues completely and let our daughter be a 15-year-old kid. Yeah, we kind of had the same problem. My mom was afraid of what people thought of her, even though that was the consequence of her own actions. She's not a terrible person, but it's difficult to forgive cheating, and much more difficult to try and rebuild after something like that. If anything, I hope your ex-wife can learn to forgive herself and move on, instead of being overridden with guilt and passing it on to your daughter. Just keep doing what you're doing. My mom's better now, but at that time I was really grateful I at least had one parent. This is so wonderful and refreshing to see a healthy relationship between father and daughter. I will talk to your ex about venting to her daughter. She's not just venting, she's using her as an emotional crutch and a friend replacement, which is extremely unhealthy for your daughter. She's still young and not equipped with the knowledge and skills to handle all this. I would set stricter boundaries that her mom can't do that. I would also suggest therapy for your daughter, as divorce is difficult for children and she has a lot of conflicting feelings and doesn't know how to filter them properly. Having her talk to a professional will be really helpful, and you can join in on some sessions too. Yes, she cannot be using your daughter as her individual therapist. This is only going to create more problems with your daughter's mental health. I will address this ASAP. Now for the final update. So it has been a few months since I made this post, and I receive at least 5 to 10 messages a week for an update. So here it is. I will try and do this in one post and make it fit. So after my last post, I decided to schedule an appointment with 2 separate therapists who specializes in marriage and family counseling after divorce. I saw these 2 therapists over the course of 5 months. I did 5 sessions with each therapist, 1 female and 1 male. In the sessions, I went over all my issues I dealt with my ex-wife and the current dynamics we have in place now. I showed both therapists my Reddit post and wanted truly 2 non-biased opinions from 2 professionals of the opposite sex. The advice they both gave me provided a contrast I needed to make necessary changes, if any, in my life. The first thing I did was invite my ex-wife to join me in 3 planned therapy consultations in which I would pay for. The goals were simple. First, create avenue for my ex-wife to start speaking with a professional instead of our daughter about our issues. Second, give her closure. Not forgiveness, but an opportunity to give her any answers she may need to recover and be a better mother and person to our shared child. Last, build and commit to a plan that we will follow in how we will deal with parenting our daughter and behave at shared life events. She accepted my offer. First session. The first session was all about sharing our point of view on the current state of our lives and what we both want for our daughter. I shared that I am currently enjoying my life, as my professional and personal life are flourishing, in the sense that I have achieved balance and joy, and core life goals and accomplishments are being met. For my daughter, I share that my goal is to ensure that she is happy, enjoys her childhood, loved, and understands the value of self-respect and commitment to core values. I always share with her that everyone loves to believe that there are exceptions to the rules, but sometimes following the rules are what makes a person exceptional. Having a clear sense of what is right and wrong and behaving in that fashion is very important to who you are. I shared that my biggest regret in life would be if my daughter turned out like how her mother used to be 7 to 8 years ago. It was brutal saying this in a session, but I truly believe and fear this. Ex-wife then shares the current state of her life. She is very passionate about her career, interior and exterior designer. She quite literally turns houses into homes. She shares that she is currently working on herself because her past few relationships ended poorly, because her baggage from our marriage and divorce has made her very afraid of commitment. She also wants our daughter to be happy, loved, and a hard worker. She responded to my comment about me being afraid of my daughter turning out like how she was 7 years ago. She said her pride was hurt by that comment, but years of therapy helped her realize she must accept that her actions of the past have warranted that kind of comment from me. She said she knows our daughter does not want to be like her, because our daughter has asked her many times, besides cheating on dad, what is the real reason why he will never forgive you? She said people cheat and get divorced all the time, but they are still friends. However, dad truly thinks you are a bad person, but a good mom. For years, she thought I was poisoning our daughter against her, but quickly realized that was just her own guilt eating her away. The session ended quickly after that. Second session. This session, my ex-wife asked a lot of questions, and I mean a lot. Nevertheless, I answered all of them honestly and bluntly. The 3 main questions she asked were the following. 1. How did I heal from the wounds that she caused? And what advice could I give her as she's still trying to heal from the wounds she caused herself? I explained that the damage she caused wasn't like a stab or a cut wound that you could stitch back together. I said her damage was more like she amputated a limb from my body. My recovery wasn't focused on healing, but rather on how to walk, lift, or learn how to eat with my feet because I no longer have hands. I recovered from what she did by reteaching myself how to not be defined by my disability, become a victim, but more importantly, gaining strength from it. I ended by saying I'm still recovering. There is no healing this wound. The leg is gone. I said my advice to her would be do not amputate your next partner. Stop focusing on healing and start prioritizing recovering from the damage you caused. Some things cannot be fixed, but they can sometimes be replaced or provide life lesson in how to behave in the future. 2. How can she replace what she has broken? I replied by giving an analogy. When a woman has a miscarriage, she doesn't replace the child she has lost when she has another baby. She values the life of the child she has because she knows what it is like to lose a child or not have a child at all. She doesn't replace what she has lost. She has to use her previous loss as a vehicle to find love in what she has now. I reiterated that she cannot replace or fix this. Her actions are permanent and cannot be undone. She must recover and use her experience to be better next time. 3. Is there anything she could do to allow us to be friends again? I replied by saying no. However, her being a great mother to our daughter and showing her how to recover from making the mistakes she made in her past would go a long way in making sure our shared interest is met. I explained there is no scenario in which I can give you forgiveness because it is not a gift I can give. This gift must come from yourself. I cannot be responsible for your happiness or forgiveness. 4. Would you allow me to keep trying? I respond, sure. Last session. In the last session, we made 2 major agreements. 1. We came to an agreement that I would allow her to contact me outside of emergency if she agreed to not speak about our relationship with our daughter. Please let her be a kid. She can call me directly if she wants to coordinate vacations, holidays, or gifts. 2. I will agree to do 1 counseling session a year with her until our daughter is married or graduates from college. The goal in the session is to build a stronger co-parent relationship and ensure we are not letting our past ruin shared experiences with our daughter. Overall, it has been 3 months since our last session, and I believe that I did what was in the most important immediate need for our child, which was ensure she does not feel she is responsible for me and her mother's happiness when it comes to her life. She is back to being a now 16-year-old teenager, worrying about boys, clothes, and social status, which I am perfectly happy to deal with. As for my ex-wife, that is a whole another thread. Am I the a-hole for canceling all of my stepkids' tickets for our family vacation while my husband and I are still going? Buckle in, it's gonna be a long ride. My 48 husband, Randall, 50, have been together for 14 years. Randall has 4 children, 2 sons, Kyle, 26, Alex, 24, and 2 daughters, Savannah, 21, and Cassandra, 20. It's important that y'all know, as we get into this, that the oldest and the youngest are not his, biologically, but he's raised them as if they were. When Randall and I first got together, 3 of his children were in elementary school, and the oldest was in the middle school. They really didn't take to me at first, as they wanted their parents to be together like any child would. I completely understood, and I gave them plenty of time to spend with her father when we were with them. I'd busy myself with shopping or visiting my own family. Eventually, we bonded and began spending time together. I do birthdays and holidays big for them and got to where we go and do things on our own when my husband had to work, and he's always worked a lot. Here's my issue. Over the last several years now, they've adopted this sense of entitlement towards us, but mainly their father. When we go into town to visit, we live 5 hours away. They'll rarely make the effort to spend any time with us. So, we typically end up doing things on our own and then coming back home. Lately, we are of the mindset that we shouldn't have to drop everything and come to them every time anymore. Especially when we know that most times, they're not gonna show up. And they're adults. If they want to see us, they can make a trip to where we live. These days, their phone calls consist of asking for money for gas, groceries, to hang out with friends, or to help fund their trips with their mom. Randall used to send money for everything they would ask for, but has now begun to say no and to really put his foot down. He's told them that they need to work for the things that they want, and that everything is not always going to be handed to them. Anytime he says no or that we can't help right now, it's the silent treatment for weeks, and sometimes months. We're coming to the part where I'm questioning myself and my decision to cancel their vacation. Early fall 2022, Kyle told us that he and his girlfriend were expecting a baby. We didn't even know he had a girlfriend, but that he doesn't think he wants Randall to be part of the baby's life because he isn't Kyle's biological father. This man raised this boy from 8 months old and did everything that a father should do, but he's not good enough to be grandpa? But he said he'd let us know. So we proceeded through birthdays and the holidays, and of course I went all out as per usual. Now, right after the new year, I received a phone call from Kyle asking if Dad and I could help fund their baby shower. It would go towards food, decorations, and the venue. I said yes, and I went ahead and sent him the money, and he told me that in a week or so, he'd give me all the details of the baby shower and to expect the invitation in the mail. About an hour later, Randall calls me and says that Kyle called and asked him if we could help fund their baby shower, and Randall sent him money too. Randall was furious that it took us both for money, but he left it alone and we didn't hear from any of the kids after that. Mid-March comes along and we're visiting with my husband's family when his sister-in-law asked why we didn't go to the baby shower the previous weekend. Because we didn't know about it. We were stunned to say the least. Then his sister-in-law dropped another bomb on us. The baby was born the day before the shower. Come to find out, all 4 kids and their mother agreed to not invite us to the baby shower or to even let us know that the baby was born. They needed just the money. To say that I was livid would be an understatement. So I sent Kyle a message a couple of days later and told him that it's one thing to not invite us to the shower, but to not let us know about the baby was heartbreaking. I told him that I hoped they'd had a great time and that they were gifted everything that they needed. I congratulated him on the birth of his son and that I hoped he's healthy and adored. My husband sent a similar message. We've yet to hear back from him and we're headed into mid-June. So, after the conversation between myself and my husband, and the fact that I paid for the entire trip on my own, we decided to cancel their tickets for what was supposed to be our family vacation. I got a partial refund for some of the reservations that I had made, but that's okay. I'll take the loss. Last week, we got a call from the other 3 asking what dates they needed to plan for and what they should pack. And I let them know that I canceled their tickets, so they didn't need to worry about it after all. They were angry and had some choice words. I honestly feel like it's the best decision we could have made, but am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're not telling us the whole story. Why has every one of the kids gone low contact with their dad? We've both bent over backwards for all of these kids. My husband got both of his sons jobs with his employer at different times, and they came to stay with us. We provided everything that they needed, food, housing, etc. Neither lasted much more than a month. They missed their friends and the fun they were having, so they left. No notices. We told them that they'd have to figure their lives out as they're adults, and we told them that we wouldn't be sending money as often anymore. Recently, the older daughter asked us to buy her a new car because she treated the first car we bought her terribly and is no longer in great running condition. That should make the car payments. But she doesn't work and doesn't plan on it. We told her absolutely not. She stopped talking to either of us then. The expectations are huge, and no, I haven't told y'all the whole story because it would take a long time. Y'all would be shocked at some of the stuff we've been asked for, and not just by the kids, the mother too. Not the a-hole. My heart breaks for you both. As an adopted child, I would never do this to my parents. My situation is actually opposite. My family does not drive to see me. I drive to them, and I understand because they're older and honestly don't feel comfortable making long trips. But I expect when I do make a trip to spend time with them because I only get so much time off. I had a daughter over a year ago. My whole entire family has treated her as their own even though I'm adopted. I actually messaged my mom that I can't express how happy I am that we are loved so much. The kids are missing out, but I don't know the whole situation. Was the divorce acrimonious? Did Randall cheat? Those things do matter to older children, but the mature adult thing to do would be to talk about it with her dad. It almost sounds like the mom has poisoned them against their father and you. You both shouldn't send any more money to any of them. You should enjoy your lives, and you both deserve apologies. The divorce was indeed acrimonious. His ex had an affair with her manager at work, which resulted in the youngest daughter. She let him believe that the baby was his, and he found out when she was a year old that he was not her bio father. A DNA test was taken. They divorced about a year later, and I met him 5 years after their divorce. It wasn't really sudden that they started acting this way, it was just that it became constant. Mother is extremely involved and they absolutely learned this from her. She coached them a large part of the time. Money has always been her driving force as well. Not the a-hole. Enjoy your trip. And maybe start looking into wills and inheritance issues. Agreed. What horrible children. Just there for money. It's so sad for Opie and her husband who have tried to have a relationship with them. Opie not the a-hole, but expect demands for money to continue. Sounds kinda like mom's been poisoning their thoughts since the divorce. My thoughts exactly. Betcha she's embedded the money grubbing from her ex to her children. Like what the heck? They funded vacations for them and their mom. I would have bailed before that. Next story. Am I the a-hole for canceling my birthday trip after my sister invited the kids? I, 27 female, planned a vacation to San Diego for myself and my boyfriend, 31 male, for the end of June, which happens to fall around my birthday, between the two of us. We have 4 kids that we had already arranged childcare for, being that we are both single parents. We made sure we had at least 2 backup plans as well, just in case something went wrong with the initial sitters. A few days ago, my older sister, 33 female, asked if herself and her husband, 32 male, would be able to join us. I agreed, not thinking anything of it. Then later that day, I checked my phone and saw in the family group chat she had also invited my little brother, his wife, and their 2 kids along. So out of curiosity, I asked her was she also bringing her baby. She said yes, and she also booked a hotel near Disney for us all to stay in. I politely asked who was us all, and she responded my boyfriend, myself, our 4 kids, herself, her husband, their baby, our little brother, his wife, and their 2 kids. Normally I would have been upset, but I really should have expected nothing less, because she has a pattern of hijacking trips. So I just let her know we were no longer be going, because the entire purpose of the trip was to get away from the kids and reset for a couple of days. After all, it was still my birthday weekend, and I know full well I wanted to be drunk 90% of the trip. I did not want to be bothered for snacks and potty breaks anyways. After I let her know my boyfriend and I wouldn't be going on a trip anymore, she began texting the group chat nonstop, saying how I was being selfish and I shouldn't have kids if I didn't want to take them on every trip with me. I'm not sure if I'm actually an a-hole for not wanting to be around kids for a couple of days, or if it's just the normal guilt parents have when they finally try to do something nice for themselves. Not the a-hole. Book something somewhere else and enjoy yourself. You and your boyfriend should go ahead to San Diego. They can go to Anaheim where Disneyland is. Tell them they can watch your 4 kids along with everyone else's. Just kidding, because you already have plans with sitters. Enjoy your birthday with your boyfriend. Yeah, seriously curious how booking hotel hours away from the original destination wasn't going to be missed. Even if they are driving, was the sister just going to head to Anaheim while Opie drove to San Diego? Not a-hole. People who hijack or crash other people's vacations are a-holes. And parents who want an adult's vacation without kids are not a-holes and need not feel 1 dot of guilt. With 4 kids, you deserve a break if you feel you need one. You're not being selfish. Some parents don't mind having kids on all their vacations. Good for them, but they don't get to impose that on people who feel differently. This was your vacation, and your sister decided to be Miss Control Freak and decide on a totally different experience for everyone. You say she has a pattern of hijacking trips, so you have to ask yourself, why did I tell her? Plan your vacations without telling her or anyone else who would tell her. Good communication is a great thing, but that doesn't mean you have to be an open book, especially to boundary stompers. You can keep life plans to yourself. My parents took a vacation every year without us. I never even questioned that they should be able to do this. I understood why at a very early age. To be honest, we kind of liked the vacation from them too. My parents did the same. Long weekend away with a big group of friends every year. Nana would come hang out with us for the weekend, and we had a blast. I mean, she taught us to play poker and make ravioli and bolognese. We had more fun than the adults who were on vacation. You're absolutely not a-hole, Opie. Not a-hole. Call it out in a group chat. Not only did you invite yourself to my birthday trip, you invited others and changed it completely. That's not the trip I planned. It is not the trip I want, so it won't be the trip I go on. We've all sat there while you hijacked vacations and have said nothing. but it's not happening this time. Also, next time you have a problem with me, approach me like an adult, instead of calling it out in a group chat. You are acting like a spoiled child and it's pathetic. I support this plan of action. Except I would go with, it's my birthday, and for my birthday trip that you invited yourself and the entire family on was to be a romantic vacation with my partner, which is healthy in any relationship. I'm sorry if that is not your relationship, but it is mine. This doesn't mean I don't love my children fiercely, and it's sad that you view it as such. You should plan your own vacation. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not punishing my dog and kicking out family? My 23 female dog Baha just got surgery. I hosted a family dinner with aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, nieces, and nephews. As everyone walked in, I asked that Baha be left alone on the couch on her spot. Welp, one of my cousins, Jane's daughter Amy, decided to go near Baha and bother her while I was in the kitchen. I figured since I asked the adults, to make sure their kids left her alone. Amy had bothered Baha, and Baha let out a warning growl. I quickly came to the living room and told Amy to leave Baha alone as she wants to rest. Amy was crying because Baha's growl scared her. Jane then gets mad at me saying, "Is that all you're going to do?" She snapped at my daughter and scared her. She's traumatized and probably won't ever go near a dog again. I then snapped back, "I'm not going to punish my dog for giving your child a warning. I asked you guys to leave her alone as you walked through the door. You should have watched your child." Other family members chimed in and said I shouldn't let Baha act like that towards kids, and she does deserve a punishment, while others sided with me. I then yelled at everyone, "This is Baha's house." She let out a warning. She didn't snap her teeth at Amy. She didn't bite her. She let out a warning because she wasn't comfortable. She didn't feel safe, and she has every right to feel safe in her home. So if you guys have a problem with me not punishing my dog because she let out a warning, and I will say this again, because she didn't feel safe in her home, then you may leave her home. I will not treat my dog like she's any less than because Jane couldn't watch Amy, and is being a brat for Baha not wanting to be touched. I was told from Jane and her family that I was an a-hole. So am I? Edit. For those saying I shouldn't have had a gathering, it was planned months ago. Her surgery was not. My house was the best place to have it since my kitchen is bigger than others. I would have hosted it in the backyard, but unfortunately it rained. If I had canceled the dinner, I would have wasted a bunch of money that wasn't mine as family was traveling for this reunion. I couldn't carry her upstairs, or else I would have hurt her in the process. She could barely walk up the small ramp to the couch. She's doing great now. Amy is 11 years old. Amy was mistreating Baha and was told to stop and leave her alone. She didn't listen. 11-year-olds know right from wrong. Her 3 to 7-year-old cousins listened better than her. They were told once to leave Baha be. Even when they were near her, they were just petting her and she didn't mind. But their parents wanted to let Baha rest, and they listened. Not the a-hole. You backed your dog who did exactly what a person would hope for. The dog didn't bite. It was a warning growl. Probably not the first warning either, just the first vocal one. I'm pretty confident anyone blaming the dog owner has terrible kids. So much this. The dog showed restraint by not biting and communicated in the only way dogs can. And what the heck do the family mean punish the dog? Like, how do they want her to punish Baha? And it's even more outrageous that they want her to punish an animal who just had surgery and basically said, "Leave me alone, I don't feel well." The family members who are not on OP's side are wild. Also, definitely not the a-hole. If you disrespect my dogs in their own home, their own safe space where they can relax, you can GTFO immediately. I actually stopped seeing a woman once because she didn't really like dogs, and she told off my lurcher for coming for a hello sniff. And poor Mabel went to the other sofa and had her ears back with her sad face because she didn't understand what she had done wrong. Broke my heart, and that was an immediate end to that relationship. I don't understand adults that do this. We have a bunch of nieces and nephews and some younger siblings that spend time at my house, and all of them know that this is the dog and cat's house. And if you can't be nice, you can't spend time here. All the kids get it. Why can't adults? Not a-hole. Never ever punish a dog for a warning growl, because the next time they will skip the growl and go straight to bite. Growl is the last step on the ladder before bite. There are many steps before that, but most kids, unless taught, won't understand them. Like lip licking, ears back, tail tucked, whale eyes, etc. This is what I came here to comment on. If you punish a dog for warning growls, you are potentially training them to skip growling and bite. It may have been better to put the dog in another room where you knew she wouldn't be bothered, but I can also understand why you'd want to be able to keep an eye on her, post-surgery and all. But still not the a-hole.